Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to re-examine American history, not as a timeline of presidents, wars, and dates, but through the lived experience, contributions, and struggles of Black people. Because the truth is this: Black history is American history, but for too long, it has been treated as a footnote instead of the foundation. So let's walk through centuries in the next 8 minutes and connect the chapters as they truly are. 1. Early America, a nation built on Black labor. When discussing American beginnings, we often start with the Pilgrims in 1620, but before the Pilgrims ever touched Plymouth Rock, Africans had already arrived, some free, many enslaved, all part of a world being shaped by European colonization. By 1619, the first documented Africans were brought to Virginia. They didn't choose America. America chose them violently. From that moment, enslaved Africans became the hidden engine of the colonies. They worked the tobacco fields of Virginia, the rice plantations of South Carolina, the sugar mills of Louisiana, the cotton fields of the Deep South. The wealth that made America a global power was produced by enslaved Black hands. Yet in textbooks, this truth is often reduced to a single paragraph. Shasha 2. The American Revolution. Freedom for whom? When the Revolutionary War erupted in 1775, the fight was framed as a struggle for freedom against tyranny. But the most ironic question of the era was, freedom for whom? Tens of thousands of enslaved Black people were caught in the middle. Some joined the British, who promised freedom in exchange for loyalty. Some fought for the Americans, believing the new nation might live up to its ideals. Some used the war to escape into free territories. Black participation in the Revolution was significant. From Crispus Attucks, the first to die in the Boston Massacre, to the Black regiments who fought in key battles. Yet after the war, slavery expanded, not diminished. 3. The Cotton Kingdom. Economic giant, human tragedy. By the early 1800s, the invention of the cotton gin transformed the South. Cotton production exploded, and so did slavery. The U.S. became the world's largest cotton exporter, and enslaved Black labor became the backbone of the national economy. Northern banks financed slavery. Northern factories processed cotton. Southern planters grew wealthy. The entire federal government protected the institution. This was not a Southern problem. It was an American system. The Civil War. The fight for the soul of the nation. When the Civil War began in 1861, it was explicitly about slavery. No matter how many myths try to rewrite it. Enslaved Africans and free Black people played a crucial role. Nearly 200,000 Black soldiers and sailors joined the Union. Black women served as nurses, scouts, and spies. Enslaved people sabotaged plantations and fled to Union territory. Their actions directly contributed to Union victory, and in 1865, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery. But as we soon learn, abolition is not the same as justice. Number 5. Reconstruction. America's first great democratic experiment. The years after the Civil War, from 1865 to 1877, were one of the most revolutionary periods in American history. Black Americans created schools and colleges, built thriving communities, held political office at every level, established businesses and newspapers. For the first time, America attempted multiracial democracy. But white supremacist backlash, through violence, political sabotage, and terrorism, destroyed this progress. Number 6. Jim Crow, racial apartheid in America. From the 1870s to the 1960s, the South created a system known as Jim Crow. Segregation in schools, housing, and public spaces. Voter suppression. Mob violence and lynching. Economic exploitation. Millions of Black families lived under state-enforced racial apartheid. This wasn't just cultural, it was law. And yet, Black culture flourished. Blues, gospel, and jazz transformed music. Black-owned businesses formed economic networks. Black intellectuals, writers, and activists emerged. Black migration reshaped American cities. Oppression did not silence creativity. It sharpened it. 7. The Great Migration, the movement that changed America. From 1916 to 1970, millions of Black families left the South, seeking safety and opportunity in the North, Midwest, and West. This movement grew cities like Chicago, Detroit, New York, and Los Angeles, sparked the Harlem Renaissance, influenced modern music, fashion, and literature, built the foundation of Black urban culture. It also shifted political power, making Black Americans a force in elections, unions, and civic life. Lecture 8. The Civil Rights Movement. America forced to face itself. The mid-20th century brought a movement that changed the nation. Rosa Parks, refusing to surrender her seat. Martin Luther King Jr., preaching justice with thunder. Malcolm X, demanding humanity with fire. Medgar Evers, organizing despite constant danger. The Black Panthers, feeding children and defending neighborhoods. Through marches, sit-ins, protests, legal battles, and sacrifice, Black Americans forced America to honor its Constitution. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 were not gifts, they were victories earned through blood. 9. The Modern Era, Progress and Pushback. The story does not end in the 1960s. Black Americans have reshaped every sector: science and medicine, sports and entertainment, technology and business, politics and activism, art, literature, and global culture. But modern challenges remain: mass incarceration, police violence, housing inequality, economic disparities, voting rights battles. Movements like Black Lives Matter represent not a new struggle, but the continuation of an old one. 10. The lesson. America is still being written. When we examine American history through Black history, the narrative becomes clear. Black people have built, defended, enriched, and transformed this nation, even while fighting to be recognized as equal members of it. From the first enslaved Africans, to Reconstruction pioneers, to civil rights leaders, to modern innovators, Black history is a story of persistence against impossible odds. And the lecture ends with this truth. Open quote. America cannot understand itself without understanding Black history. It is not a separate history. It is the spine of the American story.